The day has finally come. We have an iPhone in orange. You do not know how long I have been waiting for this. So many of you have messaged me since launch, which I was actually supposed to attend the keynote. I've had some better things going on in my life. We actually just welcomed our first little one. So this makes it even more special getting to see this in person. This is the brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max, of course, in cosmic orange. Let's enjoy and unbox this one, take it all in its glory together. So you can see the actual box art here. This is the first time Apple is switching actually back to aluminum from their titanium models for their Pro models. That is mostly because of obviously thermals, as well as getting MagSafe and of course wireless charging on the back. This is also the first time, as we take that off, we have a 2 terabyte option, which we have. We'll get to that in a second. And check this out right here. Like I mentioned, that two-tone. So this aluminum, this is funny. So they have different colors of orange on, say, their Mac lineup, which this sadly is not. This is a bit lighter. And this second color here, which is the glass back, that's in ceramic shield. Apple, if you need someone that can get you what like a true orange looks like you can hire me. I will quit my social content. This is a bit like on the light side. I know that I'm just being nitpicky. There are so many shades of orange, but even comparing it to like the box, that is 2 very different colors. And as the light kind of reflects off of that glass panel, you can see that it is a lot lighter, but that is what it is. Like I mentioned, you've got all aluminum now around the outside. This is glass, and on the front, let's take this off. Yeah. And as this starts up, you have to remember now, since I'm based in Canada, this is now eSIM only, whereas you were in the US, you had that eSIM option for I think a couple of years now. Inside of the rest of the box, you still have very minimal stuff, even less than before. So we've just got a USB-C cable, sadly not color matched. And on the inside, you just have, I think, one piece of paper that just says iPhone, and it says you no longer need a SIM tool because it is eSIM. So there's a couple things around that, so you don't notice that actually on the side, but that also increases the battery life, which we'll get to in a second. And that is the unboxing experience. Very short, very quick. It's already over. I feel like I'm coming down on a bit of a rush, but obviously that comes in 2 other colorways as well, the deep blue as well as the silver. Obviously I am very biased here, and this has to be the color that you can get. So typically iPhone Pro models just come in like the Pro colors, which was, like the space black, like the gold, white, recently desert titanium. We've never seen some funky colors, so why not mix things up? And I'm surrounded by my orange paraphernalia. You have to get this colorway. So onto the front, as this is now set up, this has a 6.9-inch display. It is still the exact same size as before. Obviously, this does have ProMotion, so that's from 1 to 120 hertz, but it's nice to see that the base level, like iPhone 17, also has ProMotion. So I feel like the gap has become like slightly smaller. The big differences for the Pro models is kind of on the back. So you can see what Apple calls the plateau, which is this long ridge, which looks very like pixel-esque. And you have a triple camera system. Now they've all been upgraded to 48 megapixel fusion cameras. So I think from the keynote, they said you have like the difference of like 8 different focal ranges, all the way from like macro to 0.5, all the way up to 8x, which is like a 200 mil equivalent like zoom if you have like a actual camera. So we're just zooming in on some things like on the outside, and it is super smooth between all the different focal ranges. And at 1x there, you can see that little macro. And like I said, it goes all the way from 0.5, and you can scroll all the way to 8x, and obviously anything past is all digital zoom. So the camera system is being improved. Obviously I mentioned the build, which is aluminum, so they now have introduced a new vapor chamber. The second thing, because we no longer have a SIM, so you can see the actual buttons. This is just the volume rocker. Obviously that is a camera control. When I bring my older 16 Pro Max, you can see it's the same on this side, and going on to that side, or I guess the far side, you can see on the older model that has the SIM. This no longer has that, which actually means the battery life is slightly larger. Apple doesn't release their milliamp hours. I'm sure we're gonna get an actual breakdown. This now has 39 hours of video playback versus the, I think it was like 32 or 33 on the previous gen. And numbers wise, since we do know that the 16 Pro Max had around like 4,700 milliamp hours, so we're guessing that the 17 Pro Max has around like that 5,000 mark. Like I said, we'll wait for the full kind of breakdown and testing. The aluminum also helps with thermal management, but the big thing about aluminum, you can't have wireless charging. You can't have like MagSafe, that key thing that obviously people love. That's why it has this little glass back panel. So this is made out of ceramic shield 2 that's actually found both on the front and the back. And according to Apple, that is 3 times more scratch resistant, but I would still always recommend putting like a screen protector. One of my biggest mistakes when I did this exact video like last year, I don't know if you guys can see that. This has a screen protector, but I scratched like somehow my 16 Pro Max like the day that I unboxed it, so I will not make that same mistake. So these are cases and screen protectors from Torah, so we're gonna quickly protect my device right now on cam. And I'm just gonna give this a quick little wipe down. What's nice, they have this little template thing and it's essentially just press down and pull. And that goes down, and we'll remove these tabs, and that is pretty much a perfectly applied screen protector, and I don't need to worry about any sort of scratches. And also, in case you want to protect your devices, they also have an entire line of cases when you want to actually give your device protection, because this is technically a more expensive phone. So the base model, which is still 250 gigs, has actually gone up in price. So this now starts at $11.99 US. Canadians, we are paying like $1,750 for the base 17 Pro Max, and all the way up to that 2 terabyte option, which will run you close to $3,000. So please protect your phones. This is the first one that they have here. This is their Air case, which actually gives it like airbag-like protection. So you can actually see here, these little corners almost reminds me of like Nike Air Maxes with the little cushion. So in case you are someone that drops your phone a lot, that air on the corner should help it with obviously not scratching. Shattering is what you really need. It has these nice perforated grips to essentially give you more grip, some more surface area. It has this camera control button, which just isn't a cutout. What I really like is these like orange match details. So if you are getting cosmic orange, this is probably the color combo to go for. It also has this 360-degree magnetic ring, which when you're watching content, whether it's landscape, portrait, you can kind of prop it up like that, or vice versa. And you can use it if you are someone that likes to go just like one hand with your phone, because it is so large, you can always have that. That, of course, is still MagSafe. You can see on the back that plateau or that ridge is completely flush, so there's no weird wiggle or wobble onto the actual phone. And if you want something a bit more lightweight, they just have their classic silicone cases, which are lined in this nice little suede microfiber material. Like I said, it doesn't offer as much protection, but it is a bit thinner of a profile. And that color match, once again, is pretty on point. So I will leave the links of all of the Torah stuff down below in the description. Just please protect your device. You're spending a lot of money on it, especially if you get 2 terabytes. The last thing that you want to do is crack, scratch, all of the above it to your phone, even though Apple claims Ceramic Shield 2 is 3 times increase for scratch resistance. Spend the extra 20 bucks to keep it protected, please. And even with the new screen guard applied, one of the big differences that I can already see off the bat compared to say like my 16 Pro Max here is that new 7 layers of anti-reflective coating. So I've got a lot of natural light here in the studio, just kind of putting the phone to the light. On the new 17 Pro Max, you don't see those reflections as much, which is really nice. And internally on the inside, this is running the new A19 Pro chip. Obviously that's Apple's latest like silicon. It's also upgraded with 12 gigs of RAM. So with that new vapor chamber, with the increased like heat dissipation, no matter what you're doing, whether that is, gaming for hours on end, whether you're doing like pro video stuff, which I know a lot of people just shoot solely on iPhone, you can maintain that performance for a lot longer. I will say on the pro like video side I mentioned, this now records in ProRes RAW. So there's a couple different like movie format supports when you bring that into either Final Cut or like DaVinci Resolve, whatever you happen to edit with. Obviously, this still has the log function. And also for the front screen, it is now brighter in peak nit brightness. So this is 3000 nits versus 2000 of last year. And we do have a new center stage camera, which technically, this will be the first time I'm demoing it here. So you actually no longer need to rotate the camera around because it is so wide. So it's kind of like shaped like a square. Oh yeah, you can just literally just press that one button there. Abby's on camera there, and we can get that fully without having to actually rotate the phone. You can just press that simple button, crop in, crop out. So I'm excited to kind of test that a bit more in depth. If there's anything that you want to know about the new 17 Pro Max, let me know down below in the comments. I am just super stoked we finally have an orange iPhone. There's like an orange wall If you haven't seen it, it's like right behind you. We'll showcase that there. On deck, I still have iPhone 17 as well as the 17 Air. So make sure you're subbed to the channel. Obviously, got a ton of Apple stuff coming out over the next couple weeks. So enjoy, and I'll catch you in one of my next ones. Peace.